Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today is like a really cold, gross, rainy day outside. I don't know if you can tell based on the lighting. I don't think you can. But I wanted to sit down and film a video for you guys and just kind of sit down and chat. I have my kombucha here, so yeah. As a lot of you guys know, I studied abroad last semester. I've made a couple videos about it already. I'll link some down below and stuff like that. There's like a recap of my entire semester and stuff like that. I've gotten a couple messages with the same kind of theme of questions, so I thought I would just take a minute to answer them and kind of sum all of my like rough thoughts up about studying abroad. So this video is going to be like 5 things you should know before studying abroad, 5 things to consider, like stuff that fits in that realm, if that makes sense. And I feel like I'm going to be super chatty, so let's just jump in. First off, I think you need to think about the place you want to be, what time of year you want to be there, how big you want your program to be. All of these factors will really like make or break your semester, I think, at least like experience-wise. So for me, I went to London in the fall and I had about 110 people from my school in my program, which I had mixed feelings about because it's obviously a lot less immersive. But on the other hand of that, like I made a lot of friends that I was able to come home with. So it's kind of like a give and take in that scenario. But I know like my school offers programs in the fall, the spring, we have J-term, which is basically like a short term that you can go for like 3 weeks if you don't want to commit to a full semester. And a lot of schools have like summer programs. I think we might, but they're just not as popular. So definitely consider the time of year you want to go. Obviously, depending on where you go, that might differ. Like if you're going to Australia, you might want to go in a winter term because it'll be summer there, or vice versa, whatever. And then also consider like the type of area that you want to live in. So obviously London is a very big city. I loved living in a city for 4 months. I just like thrived in such a busy environment. London was perfect for me because there was such a wide variety of things to do. Like I could go on a walk in a park, I could go by myself to a coffee shop, but I could also go clubbing with my friends or go to these like high-rise bars and things like that. So I think you need to consider the type of experience that you want and how like immersed in the culture you want to be. And I do wish that I was a little bit more immersed in my program, but just because of like the school that we studied through and the fact that I was living with all kids from my school, like that didn't really happen. But I had a friend, I don't know if she want me to say her name, but she studied somewhere and she was like off the grid. Like she did like a homestay. She was like bathing in a river for 2 months. Like she was doing the damn thing and killing it. So just like consider, I guess, the type of experience you want, where you want to live, how many people you want to go with from your school if you're going through like a university program. Just like really consider all those factors before applying to a program. The next thing I've written down is to budget. I cannot express this enough. I had so many friends that went like over their budgets or just like were not aware of how much money they were spending. And obviously everybody is like economically different. But I will be like super candid with you guys. I paid for essentially all of my expenses besides tuition. I paid for my flights. I paid for my passport. I think my parents and I split my visa. I can't remember. They might have ended up paying for that actually. Regardless though. So for my entire semester, passport, visas, flights, food, travel, everything included, I spent about $6,000, a little bit under, which I think is a great deal considering I had the flights to and from America in there as well. And then I had, I think, 13 weekend trips. Like I did a lot during my time. And we also had a 10-day break in our semester to travel, which obviously took up a bulk of that financial burden. Like I think I spent probably around $1,500 on my 10-day vacation. But obviously, in my opinion, that was money well spent. I know that out of all of my friends, I'd say in the very low end of spending. I know people spent like double that, triple that. And obviously everybody's in like a different financial situation, but for me, I'm happy with the amount that I spent. I feel like I got to do everything I wanted to do, but I like came back and I wasn't like in horrible financial condition, or I didn't like owe my parents any money or anything. And again, like that's something that you're gonna have to work out with like your family, your school's financial aid, stuff like that. But I really recommend keeping a log of all of your finances and going in with a number of like, I don't wanna spend more than this. Because it's just so easy to get lost and like wrapped up in all these transactions, especially with like the exchange rates and stuff like that. Like sometimes you lose concept of how much you're spending. So what worked really well for me was logging my finances every day. I would keep track of them in my notepad, and then at the end of the week, I would add up my total from the week, put it in a spreadsheet on my computer, and do all the transactions to see like how much I was making. I was also logging how much money I was making while being abroad. It wasn't a lot because you guys know I wasn't very active on my YouTube channel, and I obviously wasn't working on campus, but I still wanted to be aware of like how much money I was bringing in. So I had those 2 spreadsheets, and then I also had a 3rd spreadsheet of like each trip that I went on, and I would outline like the airfare, the hotel or Airbnb, the experience cost, like if I did like a tour of something, food, drink, like all that kind of stuff, just so I could keep track of like how much my weekend trips were. And between that, I think that was like what helped me stay on budget. And again, like I didn't really say no to anything. I would just spend my money wisely. Like if I went out to dinner on like a Tuesday in London, like I didn't need a drink with dinner. So like I'd order water instead of getting like a mojito because I had one the night before, you know, like just like be smart with your money. I also didn't buy a lot of souvenirs. I'm just like not a big souvenir person. So that's like part of it as well. So just like be aware of what you're spending, be aware of where your money's going, and make sure you come in with a plan of like how much you want to spend and stuff like that. The 3rd thing I've written down is to know how you like to travel and how your friends like to travel. This was like not an issue for me. I mainly traveled with my 2 roommates, and we all traveled very well together. But I know that I have friends that I love to death, but I would do horribly traveling with them just because we have very different interests and like paces of even walking and like how you get up in the morning. Like me and my 2 friends that traveled a lot together, like we would all get ready very fast. Like the 3 of us could get ready in honestly like 30 minutes with 1 bathroom. So that's something that like I liked about us. Like when we travel, like we were okay walking places to save money. We were very good about like mapping out where to go first. Like we didn't have strict plans of like we need to be here by 1 p.m. But we'd have like the night before, we'd make a list of everything we wanted to do the next day and kind of map out like a logical order to hit things in. Just like make sure that you're traveling with people that have the same goals as you when you're going to like a new country, because there's nothing wrong if you want to like have a day where you just go to museums, but some people might want to go out and like hit the clubs the night before and then wake up a lot later because they're hungover, or they want to like have a leisurely brunch, and like all of those things are completely fine. If that's how you want to travel, go for it. Just make sure that the people that you're with are on the same page. The next thing I've written down was something that saved me, and that's to make a list of everywhere you want to go in your like home country. You can also do this like when I was planning trips, I'd make a list of like potential things that I wanted to see or do, but I had like a very extensive list for London of like every museum, every cafe, every coffee shop, every like art gallery, just like buildings I wanted to see, everything I wanted to see while I was abroad in London, all the experiences I wanted to have, like walking across a bridge at night, or like just like little things like that. Write them down throughout the semester. It seems very daunting at first, but when you're kind of like bored around your apartment, or you have like an hour or 2 to yourself, like you can refer to that list. And that's how I got so many things done, is because it'd be like 10 o'clock at night and I'd be like, wow, like I don't really want to go out, but I'm not ready for bed. I want to do something. I like didn't really let myself touch Netflix while I was abroad. And I'd look at my list and see like, oh, there's a cafe nearby that has dessert. Like, does anybody want to go with me and get a crepe really quick? And that's how I would fit everything in, is just like when I was bored, I'd look at that list. If I had an hour and a half between class, like maybe I'd go run over to a museum and pop in and see one of the exhibits, things like that. It's also really easy to kind of get in a routine abroad. Like there were definitely like coffee shops I love to visit and do homework, and there's nothing wrong with that. There were like places that like me and my friend group love to eat, and it's good to have those like places to come back to. But I felt better about coming back to them after I'd already kind of finished the majority of things that I wanted to do, like as far as like eating at new restaurants and stuff like that. And then the last thing I have written down is to document everything. The semester will probably fly by, and it's probably going to be the best like 4 months of your life. I absolutely loved being abroad, and I'm so glad that I have so many like photos and videos to kind of commemorate the trip. I also would take like notes every day on my laptop and had like kind of a journal of each day that I was abroad, and it ended up being like 200 pages by the end of the semester. And I just love that I have everything written down and documented for like looking back on in the future and stuff like that. I also made a video that was 1 second every day while being abroad. I will have that link down below. You guys seem to really like it, and I feel like that's something that just like sums up my abroad experience so well. You can see all the little trips I went on. You can see like me at my internship, me going out with my friends at night, our apartment. It just like encompasses everything so well, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. And I took like 10,000 pictures I think while I was abroad. It like said on my camera roll, and that's obviously like a lot to go through, but I'm so glad that I have all of those for when I'm older to look back on and remember my trip. So that is everything that I have to share with you guys as far as like things to consider before going abroad. I could seriously talk about this for hours, so if you guys want more videos on this, give it a thumbs up, leave comments with suggestions for other things you want me to talk about. All my social media will be linked down below per usual, and I will try to link some of my other videos that I've done about studying abroad. Maybe I'll make a playlist on my channel and link that. That's a better idea. I'll do that. And yeah, with all that being said, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.